Sorry for the lighting here. I am currently outside. It's getting kind of late, so it's getting dark, and my only real light source is this lamp behind me, which is very orange in color. So I tried to get the sky behind me to get a somewhat better picture, but what we're going to do. I wanted to get a few more videos out. I wanted to try and get more regular content out, and it hasn't been happening very well these last few weeks, so I thought I'd do this one. But just some basic, let's talk about it. Here's something that was on my mind recently, is that in previous editions, the fighter was always the most simple class, the simplest class to play. And that was usually because he had less active skills, less abilities that you could do. He was very simple. He was a hack and slash fighter. He got better at it than anybody else, and he could even do significant damage because of how good he was at it. But he was very simple. And this goes all the way back to classic D&D. I remember the Red Books had a introductory solo adventure, kind of like a choose your own adventure book, a which way book. But you still rolled the dice for your attacks. So they explained it very step by step, incrementally, and you started off as a fighter. Sorry, fire truck's just driving past, big loud noise. But you started off as a fighter because it was the simplest class to play. And this carried through 1st, 2nd, 3rd edition. I'm not as familiar with 4th, so don't quote me on that one. But on all these previous editions, other than 4th, the fighter was always the simplest. Even in 3rd, he got more feats than any other class. He got a whole pile of feats. But generally, most of those feats were just bonuses to what he could already do. Learning new weapons. Maybe he got to learn new weapons. He got a bonus to his attack, a bonus to his damage, bonus to his armor class, bonus to saving throws. Various bonuses, but rarely new abilities. Then comes 5th edition. And 5th edition is based on these class features. Every class has a pile of class features. And when I first got into 5th edition, I started thinking that there was no more. You didn't have a simple class for new players to join as and just kind of get their feet wet. Figure out the mechanics of the game. But I was looking at it the other day, and I realized there is still a very simple class that you could play in 5th edition that doesn't get new abilities. They just get better at the abilities they already have, just like the classic fighter. And, wouldn't you know it, it's still the fighter. But it's the subclass of the champion. And I don't think this was really a mistake. I think this was a design feature of the game, purposely done, so that you would have this very simple class for new players. Because if you look at him, as all fighters do, they get Second Wind, which is a new ability. 1. They get Action Surge. Not a new ability, just allows them to use use an ability twice. Take 2 actions. Not a new ability. They get the Indomitable. Allows them to re-roll saving throws. Still, not a new ability. None of these things are new abilities. They're just enhancing what you have, except with the exception of Second Wind, which takes an action to use. One other exception to that is the fighting styles. If you read through the fighting styles, most of them are just passive bonuses. Bonuses to damage, bonus to attack, what have you. The one exception is the fighting style of protection. This allows you to use your reaction to defend somebody else. This is a new ability. Sorry, mosquitoes. So among all of the general class features of a fighter, 1 gives an ability, the Second Wind, and then the fighting style, you have the option of choosing a new ability. With the champion, once again, nothing he gets is a new ability. Improved critical, superior critical. Lets you get a critical hit on 19 or 18. Extra fighting style. Again, you have the option, but if you took that option before, the option is not there anymore. You just get a second chance to take the option of an additional ability. The only one with the champion that is a additional ability is the highest level one, and I cannot remember what it's called now, but it basically gives you a regeneration. As long as you are lower than half health, you regain a certain number of hit points every level. But even that's not an actionable ability. It's just something that happens. You do have to keep track of it. So it is a new ability, but you look at it, the champion in 5th edition is the perfect class for a new player who is unfamiliar with the mechanics and he wants to get into it. The Battle Master with all of his maneuvers, the Eldritch Knight with his spells, no other class has this simplicity. And so the champion subclass, the fighter champion, is your classic fighter of previous editions, designed for new players to start. Simplest class for new players to get them used to playing the game. So somebody who is unfamiliar with the game wants to join in, but it doesn't think they can understand the mechanics very well, even if they like the idea of throwing spells around. I would suggest that if they're unsure of themselves, they should start as a champion, a fighter champion, because it is the simplest class, takes the least amount of mechanics to understand and play. And that is just my suggestion. The champion should be a starting class for new players. It's too dark to do anything else.